Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? What's good? What's going on with you? How you doing? How you doing? It's hot. It's hot as fish grease out there. Good Lord, it's hot. But that's okay. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get it in too, baby. We're going to get it in. I need to ask the question. Maybe we'll just start it off like this. Let me ask the question. What was you doing when the power went off for 3.5 hours on Sunday? What was you doing? And was you mad? Did it get hot? Where were you? And baby, y'all know we gonna, pardon the pun, but I gotta do it. Y'all know we gonna bring the heat today. I know. Everybody's saying like, wow, that wasn't even funny, G. Nah, we're gonna bring the heat today. We're gonna bring some heat today. What was you doing? (504) 582 9422. Because now they're going to give them a whole week. Hold up now. They're going to give them a whole week to get their story together. Because they're not bringing them to the table immediately like they said. Like our folks said they were going to do. Oh, no. We need to have them come here and answer this and give us the full detail. Okay, cool. But you didn't give them a whole week. Not this week. Not through the issues. Now, your power didn't wait a week. Your power cut off. Because I'm trying to tell you, I got a problem with that. Gerard, why do thou have a problem? My problem is May. It's May. What in the hell getting ready to happen in June, July, and August when they tell us that the heat index is 115, 118, and we're not even there yet? It got to 90, 91, 92, and it feels like temperature 97 this past weekend. And this was the first weekend. Well, wait a minute. Hold up. I'm thinking to myself, we getting ready to have it bad. If this is the way that it's going to be. So I put my request in. I done put my request in. I'm putting my request. I need to talk to somebody. I bet you didn't answer everybody's request except mine. I didn't know who to contact. I was looking through the I need to talk to somebody from Micah. Cause supposedly everybody from the Public Service Commission to the regulator over here is supposed to be mad. They're supposed to be mad because they didn't let y'all know. What? What? Hold up, wait a minute. So I'm getting ready to act like y'all act last week. They didn't inform you? Well, where is the press conference? Where is Travis Mackle saying, you need to apologize to the people of New Orleans for the inconvenience? You need to apologize to the people at the Greek festival that lost 3.5 hours of making money for their church. I'm sorry. Just hang on. Can y'all hear me? Are we broadcasting? The power grid goes off because the group called Micah says they need to turn it off before something bad really happens. I don't know what could have bad really happened, but that was bad enough for me to be sitting in an apartment wondering when the power coming back on. And how y'all doing? Now, what are you making out of this, Gerard? I am making something out of this because I want to know how you all handled this compared to how you handled other issues. Well, somebody could have got killed. Somebody could have had a stroke. Well, somebody's oxygen machine could have been running by power and it cut off. What happened? And we're waiting another week to try to find out? Y'all got patience like that? When did y'all start having patience? When did y'all start having patience? I'm just saying. This to me, again, is something that you can't control, right? Right? So if that's the case, what were you gonna do? What's your questions? Because this got to be one of the first times that I've known New Orleans over 100,000 people, 100,000 people in New Orleans were subject to a rolling blackout. That's what it was, basically. Y'all said shut the power down going into New Orleans. So it got New Orleans. It's got the surrounding areas of New Orleans. I think it got North Shore too. Clico had a problem too. But is this the first time? Because I don't remember at any given time where there was a shutdown of the power to a full city. And it captivated, had everybody wondering, what the hell? Everybody. It hit over 100,000 people. Does anybody ever remember that happening? I don't. I don't remember that happening. And I want to know who made that decision, how they made that decision. And since Mr. Red Bottoms is the head regulator for the city of New Orleans, you're trying to tell me with your impatient ass that you're going to give Micah, Entergy, Clico, all the power folks, you're going to give them a whole week to come to the table? Get the hell up out of here. You got to be kidding me. Did it affect you? 504-582-9422 is my number. Did it affect you? Because if it did, you need to say something. And I'm thinking more than anything else that these folks that had um, breathing apparatus, like oxygen, um, hmm, that they need to be the ones speaking up. Really need to speak up. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that one. I just wanted you to see what they were saying, because they said everybody saying the same thing. There was no warning. No warning. You didn't have no warning. And if they did warn you, who did they warn? Oh, well, Gerard, things happen. Okay. Let me give it to you. At temperatures hitting their highest Sunday, buildings from the West Bank to the North Shore got hot. Denise McConduit said, I felt so bad because, people were sweating. Around 100,000 people who lost their power are wondering what happened and why they weren't warned. If they're going to do like that, at least give us some warning, says Miss McConduit. Will Bienvenu, his family took refuge at a nearby restaurant, said, I've been here a long time and I'm used to this kind of thing. Denise McConduit says there was no hiding from the heat at the Greek Fest. It was hot in the gym. It was very disappointing, and Entergy has to do a little bit better than that. Now, according to Entergy, the blackout was a load shed order, a last resort measure taken when a grid can't supply enough power to everyone who needs it. Hold up. Let me read that again. Entergy says that this was a load shed order, saying that it's a measure of last resort when the grid can't supply enough power to everyone who needs it. Said that the order came from MISO, an operator that oversees power grids across the continent. Now, they asked Mr. Redbottoms why was the grid and why this was such an abrupt outage. Said when a MISO has a MISO, whatever it is, has a load shed event, it typically is an emergency load shed. Okay. With an outage spanning from the West Bank to the North Shore, we've asked energy officials why no one was warned and what their plans are if there's a next time. They didn't respond to any questions directly, but released a statement Monday afternoon. Entergy continues to work with MISO, to understand their directive yesterday to suddenly shed loads. Our teams are continuing to monitor the high electricity demand across the region today. While at this time, we do not anticipate the need to ask customers to conserve electricity or to implement any load shedding measures. Our teams remain prepared to respond quickly should conditions change. Bullcrap. Bull dookie. Kaduki bookie. Shibuki dookie wookie.
Me so horny.
No, don't go there. Get your mic.
But I have a serious question.
I was trying to be nice today. Here you go. Mm-hmm. What?
I know how to push your buttons to get you going.
What happened?
But do you think that would be a problem, this power shedding thing, whatever they're talking about, if they were to bring that power plant in New Orleans East that's sitting there dormant back online?
Well, I was going to get to that. Okay. Because my question again is, how much money we spent on that thing?
Too much.
It's like $100 million.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not certain. I don't want to quote that. Something, but I know it was a big price tag, and it's being paid for by us. So why, if something happened, because I thought that's what that was for, just in case something went down, they had this to back it up. But the last time something went down, they couldn't even get it started. This time, everybody's like, shh, be quiet. And I think the first person that should have been asking that question should have been our city council, because you all were the ones that approved for them to be able to get the Entergy to get the rate hike and to build this monstrosity of a plant that is just sitting there. So if it's just sitting there and we're not using it, I want my money back from day one to now, because it's becoming, and I think it's going to become an albatross more so than anything else, because in a minute it's going to be old and they're going to say, oh, we need to update it. That's coming next. That's coming next. So why was the plant that can generate its own power, that supposedly can generate its own power, sitting dormant while 100,000 people are sitting in the heat on one of the hottest days of the year? And trust me, we in May. What's going to happen in June, July, and August? And maybe even September, because it's usually hot there too. All right, we got to take our break. We'll take some of your telephone calls, 504-582-9422. What was the albatross doing? Sitting there saying, look, it's dark, everybody. It's dark outside. More coming up, y'all.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Hey New Orleans, ready for a great new career? Be sure to check out New Orleans & Company's Hospitality and Tourism Job Fest on June 3rd at the Joy Theater. Jobs with good wages, benefits, growth opportunities, plus giveaways and job resources. Companies like Ernest N. Morial Convention Center, Hilton New Orleans Riverside, Windsor Court, and more are hiring Tuesday, June 3rd from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Joy Theater. Learn more at neworleans.com/jobs.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Are you now or ever wanted to be in the biz? The NAACP Hollywood Bureau is proud to present Be in the Biz, a one-day symposium designed to share valuable information and access to some of the entertainment industry's top power brokers, writers, directors, producers, and storytellers from all forms of media. We'll learn about pitching techniques, adapting scripts to screen, collaboration between creatives and other media executives, and all the behind-the-scene roles for creative professionals. Be in the Biz is coming to New Orleans on Saturday, May 31st at Studio B. For more information and to register, visit @Hollywood Bureau on Instagram.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to wish all of our students, teachers, and administrators a great summer break. Use this break as an opportunity to relax and reflect on all of you've accomplished this year. We can't wait to celebrate your success in the coming months.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. It's interesting around here. It's real interesting. Who used to say that? Wasn't that a cartoon?
Bugs Bunny.
But no.
No, wait.
It wasn't Bugs.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Somebody used to say that all the time. It was a cartoon, though. I don't know who it was, though.
It was a Merry Melodies cartoon. I know that for a fact.
Huh?
It's a Merry Melodies cartoon.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact, but I can't remember who said it.
Very interesting. So, let me jump on Mr. Red Bottoms. That didn't sound good either. But let me kind of put, he making these videos now. Have you seen his videos?
No.
They're doing videos and putting them on Facebook. Well, you know what he's doing. Trying to make sure that Troy don't get that contract. And then taking up for his girlfriend. I guess his godmother of his babies. Because she running for office.
His real name is Red Bottoms?
Well, I gave him that because he walks around with suits on with red tennis shoes.
Oh, okay, because I was wondering about that.
Yeah, Mr. Red Bottoms. So, what's interesting to me, and I'm just put it out here, so everybody gonna be like, "Oh Lord, he on Troy kick again." Yep. What's interesting to me is with all the problems that's going on in this city, with all the things that you could be productive in trying to get fixed, with all the things that could maybe even keep my car from losing the undercarriage if you just stick your head up and say, we need to get these streets fixed. Trying to find some money to say that they can complete the projects to do this. Working with the administration instead of against them, because all you do is bitch, 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 bitch. Did I say bitch? All day long. All day long. All you want to do is talk about the trash contract in the French Quarter. That's all you got? When did you become an advocate for a contract? But in your name, on a lot of those Entergy contracts, because you're the attorney, so if I think about it, and I put two and two together, I'm trying to figure out, let's see, with this contract, oh, you the head honcho. You questioning everybody. You think you're a criminal defense attorney. And you all up in it, all on television, all up on Facebook, telling everybody this and telling them that with the stuff with trying to question the sheriff about what happened with this. As a matter of fact, she brought all that stuff to you prior to this event happening with all these escapees, and there's only 2 left. She's brought all this to you. And you big man on the TV, going on the other radio. He always goes to the white people TV radio station. You notice that? He always go to them. Well, they love him over there. I guess we question him too much over here. So he goes over there and he's the big man in charge. Let me tell you what's going on. Let me tell you, Newell. Let me tell you. I need you to start working on why everybody's power bill is getting ready to be high as giraffe ass. Somebody already wrote that. Melanie wrote that up there. It says high as giraffe ass. Yeah. And we're in May. And you're telling me that we have to have a load shed? When has New Orleans had a load shed? And by the way, New Orleans is the home, and New Orleans East is the home of a brand new energy plant that I don't ever think is online. Is it online now? It ain't online, is it? How in the hell we have a load shed moment and we can generate power as well? No. Let me tell you something. No. I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. Oh Lord, here we go. Already got the same little crew online trying to take up for him. No, he ain't. He's not coming on this show because he already told me he's not going to come on my show. So talk what you know, not what you think. Them people online, they know who they are. They know who I'm talking to. He ain't coming on the show. He already told me. Yeah, he already told me to my face. Which is cool. So you don't want to talk? Take this ass whipping every day. Huh? I ain't call her name. So I'm thinking to myself, as I see this and I hear this rhetoric over and over and over again, it's the epitome to me of the bull crap that we have in this city right now. I don't even know if New Orleans was like the old. Is New Orleans now like the old New Orleans? Maybe that's a question we'll put in everybody. Is this where we are? Is this where we're going to be? Is this the New Orleans that you grew up? What has happened to the New Orleans that we had at one point in time? What happened to New Orleans when we had those folks that said, let's get this done. Let's get this taken care of. What happened to those folks? Where are they? Did they all die off? What happened to the people that do believe that we can do just as good as anybody all the time? Anybody else? What happened to the people that believed in just because I got some melanin in my skin doesn't mean that I can't do as well or better than anybody else? I see us attacking us. And we just fall right on in lock and barrel shape. Let me tell you something. Anybody that tells me today that they know everything and that they got this done and they can get this done and they can get this done and not make a mistake is a person that I got to say, whoever you are, stay the hell away from me, because you're going to make some bad decisions. Nobody is 100% perfect. But if you continuously go against the grain, got bull crap in your digest, always saying something negative, nobody wants to deal with you. I got some people like that online right now. They know who they are. Nobody wants to deal with you. You can't win elections. That's probably why nobody even want to deal with you. Some of those folks are going to lose their election this time. And you go right up in there with them. They call it a barrel of bull crap. Hold on. You smell that? Smell like a barrel of bull crap. That's what it smells like. What you say, Cedric?
Man, I tell you, I'm just so tired of folk who are acting like they are operatives against black people when they are black. Man, I went to the Democratic committee meeting and they swore in a black woman and everybody said yay, except, and one person said nay, one black woman that's online right now. Are you for the betterment of our people or are you not? And when the chairman of the Democratic committee in Orleans Parish, Mrs. Bowie, was on the morning show when she invited people to the meeting, and that's how I went, she said, we've done some things we didn't do, but it's complicated. I tell you, man, the 20, 30 minutes I was at that meeting, I can see where she was saying, why she was saying it's complicated. Now, how in the world can we get the Democrat? And you know what, Gerard, you know who was there speaking that day? The new leader of the state Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah?
And the man sounds like he has a good vision, but people get so bogged down on Orleans Parish problems to where, to me, that wasn't the time to be bombarding them with just Orleans Parish stuff. How do you win back the state? More than that, Gerard, how do you get confidence back in the Democratic Party here in this city?
Well, you got to talk
Well,
to
I'm going to tell you what, man. From what I witnessed, you got to vote some of these old people out. And I don't give a darn. And then when you disagree with them, they got nerve enough to leave voice messages on your phone. You a coward. No, I'm not a coward. I'm trying to respect you. But if you're going to talk to me like a man, then I'm going to start handling you like one.
So they left voice messages on yours?
Yes. I even let some of the Democratic people hear it.
Oh, wow.
Some of the committee members. Because what I told them was, now ain't the time for petty BS. Now is the time to change. The Democratic Party on all levels need to get it together for these midterm elections. But this spiritually is the season where God is going to expose the people that don't mean us well. J.P. Morrell, Mr. President of the City Council, you can fuss at the mayor. You can call her and her administration stupid. You can even get aggressive with the sheriff. But I don't hear you saying nothing to the governor about this garbage truck that's still on that bridge. I don't hear y'all talking about the homeless living under that garbage truck. How do you know Shedrick Roy? Because I went there. I videoed it. I even dialed 911 asking them to get people to move the homeless people. And maybe you'll do something about it if I tell you, Council President, that the homeless people were white. Maybe that'll make a darn difference.
That's right, because they are under that bridge area. You're right. You're right. And that thing is tipped over.
It is tipped over. Literally, the cab of that truck is right where them people at. I did a video on it.
I saw
it.
I saw it. I didn't see the people underneath, but I saw where you went on there.
You know, forgive me, Gerard, but in front on both sides of that truck, as well as that Carrollton overpass, if you're worried about an unstable structure, you should be worried about all of that. God forbid innocent people die if something does shift structurally.
Right.
You know what? Lastly, black people here in New Orleans, voters in New Orleans, wake up. Look at the tone when people are talking to your own people, whether you like the mayor or the sheriff or not. You ain't see the news media or nobody going off on that sheriff intangible hope.
Nope.
And this was the second time that murderer escaped.
Nope.
Man, we're just taking anything. And it's time for it to stop. And I don't care if people like me. But God will expose who's not doing right by and for his people. And I wish one of these people running in this other race for council at large, somebody needs to run against him.
So how many people we got now in that race? We got
all I know is you got Matthew Willard. You got
Alicia Plummer.
Miss Delisha Boyd. Kenneth Cutnell. You got some other people. But why isn't somebody running
Alicia
against
not running in that race?
imbecile?
She ain't running that race?
Who?
She's not running that race? Alicia. I thought Alicia was running that race. I thought she said she was Alicia Plummer. I thought she was running that race. I don't know where I got that.
Man, I don't know. I know that's a J.P. Morrell and Helena Moreno supporter.
No,
just read and before I get threatened with a lawsuit, just read the thread. Look, all you got to look is see who take up for who.
What lawsuit?
I'm just saying they like to threaten you with lawsuits when you bring things to their attention. When you bring things like when Cynthia Willard Lewis was running for council person at large against Stacey Head, and when you look at people's finance reports, you can see who got what. But you want to sue me? Okay. Hey, man, you have a good one. It's time for the foolishness to stop.
You too, brother. Talk to you in a minute. All right. And you know what? That truck is leaned to the side. Have you seen it?
Man, the graffiti writers hit it up.
Really?
Yes.
I hadn't
they painted over what the graffiti writers wrote.
I didn't look at it that much. I saw when I actually saw it online because Cedric did, and he did. He went out there on the ramp and filmed it. So I did see that. I did see that. I thought that the people were going to move that truck immediately. I thought they did anyway. I thought they were going to try to. But they said it's structural damage. That's Alicia? Alicia?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Let me straighten out a couple of things. You might hang up in my face.
Bite.
I am not running for anything. I don't know where you got that from.
Somebody put your name in there. They said that you were going to run to it. It's okay. It's all right if you're not running. That's okay. So what else?
I've won 4 terms in an election. Okay, so when you talk about you can't win nothing, I've been elected 4 times.
Did I call your name?
Okay. No. Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
And you were referencing me.
Did I call your name? Did I call your name and tell you that
there are people don't like you around? Those people you're talking about, that ain't who I want to be around.
Ain't nobody
that
called
ain't
your
who
name.
I want to be around.
I mean,
okay,
you know
don't
what?
back off
you
now.
right. You right. I am gonna hang the phone
Cedric,
up. But I always remember something.
Cedric,
it is the hit
Cedric
dog
know
that
what
usually
he's
hollers
talking
first.
about. Because the person that I voted for in.
Like I said what I said, and I keep it said. I didn't back off of it. I didn't call her name when I said that. I called her name when I said I thought she was running for the office because somebody told me that she was going to run for that office. But even if you do run for the office, don't worry. You ain't got to worry about me saying nothing about you. I keep it the way that I kept it in the first place. But I will tell you this. It's the hit dog that usually holler first. I said what I said. You ain't gotta take a nap. Not yet?
Not yet.
All right.
I wish those 3 minutes would go by, but not yet.
Nope. That ain't the first time. Won't be the last. I've been nice. What was that? The Will Smith moment? I said, keep my name out your mouth. Well, I'm going to be like Kendrick Lamar. Don't worry about it. I ain't going to say nothing because you know they like to sue. I ain't going to say nothing because they like to sue. You can dish it out, but you can't take it. Then what you listening for? Oh, I forgot. You got to have somebody. You got to have somebody to probably go back and tell them people what I said. You got to. Got to go ahead on and say what you got to say. And Cedric, how dare you tell the truth? Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. How dare you tell the truth? I thought I was the only one that got threatened to get sued. I thought I was the only one. So I guess there's a whole bunch of us. All those that have been threatened to be sued, please call me, let me know. Just let me know. Oh, I know what's coming next. Nah, let me call Troy now. For the complaint come in.
I swear this has been the longest 2 minutes ever in life.
You got a break?
Yes, finally. Thank God.
All right, go ahead. All right, we got more coming up, folks. Everybody hold tight.
Hey, this is Steve Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
The Tuskegee Airmen Flight Academy of New Orleans is soaring into its second year and looking for Orleans Parish High School students that are interested in aviation. Applications are now being accepted at NOLARedtails.org through May 19th. Again, the website is NOLARedtails.org. The Tuskegee Airmen Flight Academy of New Orleans, where the sky is no longer the limit.
From the East Bank to the West Bank, WBOK is what New Orleans is talking about. WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back.
That break wasn't long enough.
Huh?
That break wasn't long enough.
Wasn't long enough?
No.
Well, that's good. That was long enough. I got to ask this question, too. This lawyer that is, what's his name? He's basically saying that these bonds, and I kind of saw a lot of folks saying this a little bit on the social media over the weekend, saying that these bonds that are being set for these folks that are helping or have been classified as saying that they're helping, these escapees, that these bonds are too high. And I'm like, oh no. Louisiana police are arresting these folks and they're setting the bonds. But it's not the police setting the bonds. They got to let them know that it is the judges that are setting the bonds. That's number one. Said Louisiana police arrested Courtney Harris and Cavante Baptiste for allegedly helping some of the inmates who escaped the Orleans Parish Justice Center. And according to those authorities, they are saying that they are involved. So the judge set Harris's bond at $2.5 million and Baptiste's bond at $1 million. And even Sterling Williams saying that he was involved because he turned the water off. Sterling Williams is saying that, you know what? I turned it off because I was told to turn it off by somebody else. But his lawyer, Michael Kennedy, is saying that these bonds are way out of bounds and that it's completely ridiculous that his client is even involved in this because he's the jail maintenance worker. But they say that he was helping the inmates escape. His bond is $1.1 million. With the number that escaped, with the charges that they are supposedly involved in, do you think that these bonds are too high? (504-582-9422) is the number that you can get in contact with me. Do you think they're too high? But this is probably the most that we've seen anytime that New Orleans or Louisiana has been on the news in a negative light day after day after day for the last, 2.5 weeks? Are those bonds too high? Come on, 504-582-9422. They are helping or been associated with, and I should say allegedly, helping these inmates escape. But I guess my question is with this is like, who you think they were going to run to? They're going to run to the mama? What broke my heart was seeing that somebody had put that grandmother in jail. I hated to see that. But you're running to them to do so. What are they supposed to do? All right, Jerry, what you say? Jerry?
Yeah, Gerard, man, I'll try to answer your question the best I can, bro. Yeah, I think they're too high. And I think them arresting all those people like that and charging them up like that, making a big old deal out of it. Like, I mean, if these guys was out there and they had a record of breaking in and robbing or beating somebody up in the process of being out there, that's what I'm saying. Then they would appear to be some very dangerous dudes. But from all I've been seeing, all them dudes they captured, every bit of them was peaceful, though. You know, they didn't have guns on them and they didn't shoot at them. So they're hyping it up, man, for number one. And I won't get into this, too. That lady, Ms. Hudson, she's no more guilty than any other person running that jail would have been because she can't keep over every little single thing all the time. Perhaps she was a little negligent in seeing about those certain little particulars dealing with the security of where the inmates be and how secure they are. Yeah, okay, well, that's a human mistake, too. But that parish jail has been running bad for years and years and years, man. And all they want to do is down her, you know. Because all the media want to do is depict that black leadership just won't work, and we need all white folks in there, but overheading every department for it to run right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so that's just a problem we got with our people, man. They have a tendency to be blind and just jump on the bandwagon of something that's said popular by an opposing person to appear to be, you know, not biased themselves, and all the time the people who said it was that for that purpose, to make them biased, man. But to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, indeed, those bonds are way too high, man. They don't want them to make a bond. They don't want them, you know, I mean, they want to keep that hype up there, like these are such terrible guys and they did such a terrible thing. But I'm going to tell you, man, anybody that's got children and they love them, or relatives they love them, or friends they love and believe in, if they call for them in a time of stress, man, 9 times out of 10, the average person going to help them out, bro. And I think that's what happened with those first ones who got arrested. You know, the people called them guys called in desperation. Those people didn't see them the same way we saw them, maybe, because or the society saw them as just bad people. You know, they lived with them, they knew them. You know, so.
I just think that they're going to run. They're going to run
up.
to who they know, and most of them are going to run to their mama or their grandmother.
That's it.
Or their sister. They're going to run to them, so they already know that that's going on. So to say that you got the highest bonds of $1 million, I think that's one of the ones that's the lowest. You know, because the other ones are like 1.1, 2.5. I'm like, goodness, you know, are those bonds that high for what reason?
People with money, they buy justice, man. Come on, you know. They only apply the rules, strict rules, to people without money, man. That's just, as long as it's been a United States, that's just the way it's been, man. But you know, they playing, nobody's opposing it, because it's not popular to defend them guys, because they did do wrong and they did break out of jail or something like that. Now, I'm not saying whether they're guilty or not, but anyway, they're accused of doing wrong. So you want them to be locked up, but to the severity of, you know, how dangerous they was and what a big old, they just played on national news and all this. They hyping it up because they want, when they get ready to pass these laws, they want everybody to be on their side. They want to say, oh yeah, we got to do that. You know, it's a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
It's that's what it is. Anyway, that's it. That's what I got.
I got you. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yeah. Is that what it is, though? The destruction of black leadership? And then why are we putting high bonds on folks that you know they're not gonna get out? You know them folks are not gonna get out. What, 10% of that is what they charge now? 12% of your bond to get out. So you're talking about if you got $1 million, you're gonna have to pay over $100,000 to try to get out. Gee, Tony.
Hey, Gerard and stuff. It's been a while, brother. How you been?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing fine. Trying to adjust to this new time frame, new time that you're on. So
I'm
this is
sorry.
my first time calling.
Yeah. How you been, though? You been all right, though?
Doing fine. Hey, just wanted to say, yes, absolutely, those bonds are ridiculous for the people. You know, you want to put them guys back in and stuff like that, that's fine. But $1 million a piece for all these people, you know what I'm saying? One lady, she just sent them some money. Let me ask this question. If that happened to me, if they come by my house and I tell him, no, I can't help you, and you need to get out of here, but I don't turn them in, am I just as guilty the same way? They would arrest me?
I would say yes.
Because I heard from them, and I decided I didn't get involved with them, told them to keep going.
And
you know?
You didn't call the right folks to try to turn them in. You just told them to leave. And instead
what if they never showed up? They just called me on the phone.
I don't know.
Help me. Help me. You know what I'm saying? I can't help you. You know what I'm saying, brother? You got to go.
But I do know that there was one telephone call that was reported that they said that one of the inmates called his sister and told her to pick him up outside the jail the next night.
Right.
And that was recorded, because anytime you use telephone in the jail, it's recorded.
It's recorded.
And
right,
they're going
exactly.
back and reviewing all of those recordings.
Right. But if she never picked him up, she never obligated herself to that, why did she get arrested and have a $1 million bond? I mean, that's ludicrous.
So that's the part we don't know.
And legal analysts and stuff like that should be honest and say that. I want them to say that on TV. All these people they talking to on the phone, the guys from Dillard and all of this who give their commentary. You know what I'm saying? That couldn't hold water. That shouldn't be able to hold water at all. What crime did they commit? You know, so
now if you riding around, you riding one of them around in the car.
I understand that. I got that.
And I think
my
that
thing
did
is
happen.
the people who they talk to on the phone, you know?
Yeah. I don't know about it. I guess my heart was a little broken when I saw the photo of the grandmother. I don't know which one it is. I got to look it up to find out who she was. But I saw the photo, and I mean the photo of her. Actually, to me, now this is just me, looked like she was just destroyed.
She is. Her life is just destroyed.
Right.
You know, with all of them, their lives is just destroyed and everything else. If they upheld a $1 million bond, they should be all getting all kind of lawyers involved in that to get them out of jail for that nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, they just escaped. You know what I'm saying? The escape is the failure of the jail.
Well, might be high now, but it's probably gonna get down. They gotta get a lawyer. So, but look, Tony, I gotta get into my news, man. Appreciate you much, brother.
Thank you. Now, bye bye.
Good to hear from you. All right, more coming up. Miss Anita, hold on. We coming back in just a minute, y'all. News is next.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump's administration plans to cancel Harvard's $100 million federal contracts, accusing the university of anti-Semitism on campus and racial discrimination in admissions and hiring.
This is going to be a battle in the courtroom. If it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, Trump is going to do that.
That's Leo Terrell, the head of the Department of Justice Anti-Semitism Task Force, who is black. R&B singer Jaheim was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia on 6 counts of animal cruelty for neglecting dogs. He faced similar charges in New Jersey in 2021. And Seattle marked the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's murder with a downtown rally, March for Stolen Lives, honoring his memory. Hosted by the Seattle Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, the march commemorated Floyd's killing by police in 2020, which sparked nationwide protest against police brutality and systemic racism. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. What you say, Miss Anita? You've been holding. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Oh, this is a question. Didn't they know the consequences they would have had to pay if they helped those people? Because the TV had been warning anybody that helped them or know of their whereabouts that they would have to pay for what they did. So they were forewarned.
I think so. I think you're correct. Now let's make sure that we got this right. So your son, okay, I'm just using this for instance, and God knows I'm not trying to put anything in the atmosphere like that. But these folks, what I'm finding out is a mother's love for their child is probably deeper than any law, any police, or anything. When your child is asking you for help, what you're supposed to do.
I get that. But look, son, you know, and I have health issues. Son, you know your mama got these health issues. Why would you call me and ask me to help you? You know I love you, but I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Now the question is,
in case of the grandmother, I feel because I'm a grandmother.
Right. But the question is now, though, Miss Anita, that you done made that statement to, let's say, your grandson or your son, whichever one. You didn't already talk to him, and you don't say nothing else, and they call you and ask you, did you talk to him? And you didn't report it. Because then now you got to report it to the police that he called you.
Right.
Some of us
Well,
may not know that's what you got to do.
Right.
So if they say, has he contacted you, and you say yeah, or you say no and lie, they got ways of going and tracing telephone calls that's coming in. And a lot of these moms may not know it, but you never know who's listening to your telephone these days. So what you do? What you do?
Oh, that's a hard one, but yeah, that's just crazy to me. You know you're not supposed to. Well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know.
So what would you do?
I would just like I said, I would just turn them in. Just turn them in because I don't want that on me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want it on me. I wouldn't be able. A lot of people die in the jailhouse, can't get the kind of proper medical help they need and stuff. Mm-mm. I love your son, but I can't do it.
Well, maybe they need to hear it from somebody. I don't think. Now, this is what I don't think. I know the folks that's putting together the law are going to tell you that, ignorance is not an excuse for not knowing the law.
True.
But I'm also looking at this and saying to myself that, folks need to listen and pay very close attention. We know these are your loved ones, but they're going to get you into just as much or even more trouble than what they're in. Because it's apparent that these bonds are high to keep you in jail.
That's it. That's a lot of money. Oh.
So.
And they're not going to reduce their bonds at all? Because,
I don't know. I think that they're going to have to get some attorneys and go in there and get these attorneys to ask for a lower bond. So, but how low are you going to go? I don't know because, heck, you think about $1 million bond right now. If you get a bail bondsman, that's still going to be over $100,000. You got to have something for that collateral of $100,000. These guys already proved that if they can get out, they will be a runner. They will run. And if they don't show up for their court dates or whatever's happening, you're going to lose that $100,000 plus. Or if you put your house up,
yeah, your house gone.
You're going to lose your house. So I wouldn't put mine up, would you?
No. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'd be like, son, grandson, I love you, but you done already proved to me that you're a runner. And you will leave me high and dry. I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to stand there until your time. And they're not coming back to OPSO. They going to Angola or either Plaquemine, one of the two.
Oh, yeah, to the big ones. So you think they would have remorse for contacting their family like that? They don't have no kind of regret that they got their families involved?
I mean, anybody that got you got your grandmama put in jail under $1 million bond. How low can you go?
Well, he just proved the point.
Your grandma is in jail. She trying to help you, and you got her in jail. And I know there'll be some people to say, well, no, she got herself in there. We don't know if she understood. And then we don't, as a man, I don't understand a mother's love. But I know one thing, when you're down and out and when you need help, the first person you call is your mom. Your mom or your grandma.
Mom.
Yep. So.
Your mom. And it's hard. I like I said, I being a grandmother, I feel her and I could understand her, but I just don't think I could have done it.
Yeah. All right, Miss Anita, thank you much.
Sad to say that, but yeah, I love them, but hey,
gotta go.
You don't love me because you don't contact me.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, my dear. Thank you much.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey, Miss Denise. Miss Denise.
Hey, how you doing, Jerome?
Good. How you doing?
Okay. First, I want to talk about the bond. The judges did their job. They had to do what they had to do, whether it was high or whatever it was. So we have to respect that, and I do. Second of all, I did send you a video. I texted to you about a grandmother talking to a grandson.
I got
in
it.
an interrogation.
I got it.
You got that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you hear how she was talking to him?
Yeah, like a man. She told him, like, I love you, I appreciate you and everything. Take your arms from around me, but I done gave you all I can give you, and ain't nothing we can do. And if anything can happen, it'll be a miracle. And he started busting out crying.
Exactly. She said, turn me loose.
Yep.
Because when I saw that grandmother, I'm a mother and a grandmother. But we got to remember the situation. He broke out of jail. He went to jail for a reason. Now, I don't know if he's guilty or not guilty, but however, he was in jail for some reason. But when the grandmother appeared, in my heart, I said, oh, he's going to turn himself in. But he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about love, I would be like, oh, they got my grandmother. I got to go say, look, she had nothing to do with this. She tried to help me. Here, I surrender. Let my grandmother go. But he didn't. So what does that say to you? I know he heard.
Yeah. Some people, I just don't think they understand the law. You think she fully understood the law?
Huh?
You think she fully understood the law? I'm talking about the grandmother.
The grandmother was intelligent enough to know that he broke out of jail. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He broke out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And go talk to somebody. Look, my grandson been calling me. He's out of jail. Yeah, she looked on that picture. Yeah, she's in serious trouble. But I don't see that she didn't understand.
Right.
Like, he broke out of jail. And you have to go talk to somebody. I just can't see her just not saying anything. But she the one who sent him money, from what I read, through the phone or what have you. But
so why not, if you're law enforcement, why not do this? At least have the parents, grandparents, or whoever their closest confidants are, have them to act as an advocate for law enforcement to say, you need to go back. You need to go back. We need to turn you in. We need to make sure nothing's going to happen to you. You can't be on the run like this. They gon' catch you.
Yeah. And then she probably could have told him that too. I don't think the lady, and I don't know her. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I just could not see her not saying, baby, you have done something wrong. You broke out of jail. Look, turn yourself back in so you can live, at least live. I saw the two that they arrested in Texas. One wouldn't put his hands to open the door because he said it would kill him. More than likely, if he would put his hand in, who knows what could have happened. But I don't see this grandmother not understanding. Oh, she loved him, of course. That's her grandson. But you gotta, like the video I sent you, you have to have that with that tough love.
Right.
Look, you gotta go back there, get your life right, do your time, and put Jesus first. Give him encouragement and say, you gotta go back. There's no way you're gonna just walk this earth freely. Get yourself together. Go back there and try to get your life together. How long you got to be back there, I really don't know. But however long, make good use of it. I don't know. They got classes back there you can take. Something that turns your life around.
Yeah.
So give them encouragement to do right, but at the same time, you can't uphold it.
Okay. So let me get back on track with the question, because the question is, do you think that these bonds are too high?
I think, with the respect of the judge, they did what they had to do. And I can't make that decision because in the situation that we're in, these people was helping jail escapers. And we don't know whether we cannot judge them because your crime was not as serious. Crime is crime.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they became fugitives.
Exactly. So you have to address it like that. And I have to respect the judge's decision because we're not in their head. We can't say, oh, well, he just stole a purse, but he may not kill nobody. We don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to take into consideration that these people pretty much No, they were dealing with escapees, families or not. Now, the two on the run, God in heaven knows, I pray they don't hurt anybody.
Okay.
I pray.
Yeah. Only got two
Now,
more
what
left.
happens if they hurt
I got two
somebody?
more left. From what I'm understanding from the news that's going on right now, they are actually in an area of Louisiana looking for them right now. They got a search going on right now.
I hope they get them before they hurt somebody, because if they hurt somebody, where everybody going to sit in?
Yeah. You never know what a desperate man going to do.
No, desperate people do just desperate things.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate you much.
All right.
All righty.
Sure. Bye-bye.
All right. George.
Man, bruh.
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good. And yourself?
Bruh, for old people, I can't complain, bruh.
Yes, indeed.
I got to tell you, though, there's a slippery slope between the time lapse of these people escaping, information being given to the general public, prior knowledge of an escape. Even if you had a child in jail and they call you up and ask you for help, how do you know they escaped when the whole world didn't know they escaped? For how many hours?
Well, remember something. One, if I'm not mistaken, one of the grandmothers who ain't paying attention to the news, and I think that she may be a little sickly. I don't want to put that on anybody, but I think so, because I think she's in a wheelchair. She didn't know that he had one of her, I guess her grandsons, if I'm not mistaken, she didn't know that he had escaped from jail. They didn't arrest her. They did not.
And that right there is a point. Let's talk about when they want to talk about the failures, right? Once they identified these people, that should have been a notification sent to all of those people. If you hear from or are contacted by these people during this act, you know what I'm saying? That would have been a civic responsibility as much for as the protection and care for any of the victims that they're concerned about. You know, people who have implications with these people on the other end, bruh. So, you know, I'm like, if the girl who her brother called her up and said, meet me at, did she know she was going for an escape? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's probably going to come out on trial. But if my brother was in jail and said, man, meet me at so-and-so tomorrow night, I don't know he ain't being released from jail.
He called her the day before and told her to meet her outside the jail. So.
Yeah, I don't know he ain't being released from jail.
Yeah, he ain't being released. He told her.
Oh, well, in that case, you know, she's stupid. I'm like, bruh, you gonna break out of jail and you want me to, I love you yet, but, bruh, you better call one of them brothers you've been hanging out with, you know, one of your partners. See which one of them got a call, if they got gas money, you know what I'm saying? And the other thing, too, I did a comparison, bruh. You know I'm on the intellectual pursuit side, right?
Okay.
Because I listen to WBOK with Gerard G-Man Stevens and the Reality Check with my man Wick on the backboard. You know I'm like listening for black facts I need to know. So y'all make me intellectual pursuit kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? I got it in a little earlier, bro. Because if I ain't listening to you on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on my radio, my cell phone next door at the neighbor house somewhere, I'm going to miss out on some black facts. So y'all know y'all make me intellectual, right?
Yeah, man.
I got it in real
what's
good.
your question?
But hold on. Here's
what's
the
your question?
intellectual side. You
All
what
right,
you going to
please.
say?
Go for it.
All right. So I went and looked up Fugitive Slave Act, right?
You looked
and
up
we got to
what?
know Fugitive Slave Act is way back in the cut, right? But the fine for helping a fugitive slave way back in the 1800s was $1,000.
Okay.
So now you want to know why I'm putting this equivalency in place. Because the question is, $1 million fine in today's dollars, if the $1,000 was back in the 1800s, it's probably equivalent to somebody having $1 million. The fine might be appropriate if you're looking at it from the Fugitive Slave Act perspective.
What kind of inflation did you go through?
1800. That was the fine, $1,000.
Okay.
So if I had to equate $1,000 to 2025, that might be equivalent to $1 million in today's inflation rates.
So more than likely, there's probably some code of conduct, maybe the canons, if she's looking at the revised statutes. The magistrate judge that is on this is probably looking at the bond from the lowest to the highest. What I see in this, now this is just me, because this is such high profile, so many of them, and they also are dangerous because most of them had some type of murder charge.
Yeah, man, we're serious now.
And plus you got the governor, you got the attorney general, you got the FBI.
Who are all former slaveholders. Oh, wait, the grandparents of former slaveholders.
I can look at all of these folks and I look at the reference, and the reference does go up to $1 million or $2 million, helping somebody that escaped, I'm going to go for the high end. And that's going to be your bond.
So you gave me the official, how they reached that conclusion by looking at the possibilities of penalties and fines. And see, that's why I say y'all make me intellectual, because you gave me the intellectual conversation of how they probably got there.
Help us.
Me, I went to what is their base foundation for escaped slaves. And that's all because by law, and we have been through it on this radio broadcast, the kind of laws that they wanted to enforce and the new legislation that failed was to call you a slave and say you ain't had no rights. And once you involved in the judicial system, you a slave. So I went on that premise. I said, let me go see what the Fugitive Slave Act penalty was back in 1847. And it was $1,000. So I said, okay, they held true to their word. Even in today's fugitive slave, even though these guys are, treacherous, some of them are treacherous, right? Hey, $1 million is appropriate, bro. That's what they use their bases on, Fugitive Slave Act.
All right, George. Thank you, bro.
So, but anyway, bro, I've been fine listening to George G. Van Steven on WBOK at this time of the day, the new time, 4 to 6. All right, with Jazz on the backboard, I'm going to be listening. I'm going to miss out on some backpacks, intellectual knowledge. I need you to know. I love y'all. Bye. Keep doing what you're doing.
George. Goodbye. We got to take a break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back in just a minute. Everybody hold tight.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Melody Hobson is one of the most successful black women in business today. And now she's got her eye on women's sports, spearheading a new fund called Project Level Up.
I started to study women's sports like an 11-year-old studies baseball statistics. And I got dangerous in seeing up arrows on what was happening in attendance, in sponsorships, in media rights.
That's Hobson talking about when she first started seeing big opportunities in women's sports. And seeing women athletes draw more global interest was another turning point recently.
Think about the Olympics and the big names, lots of amazing athletes, but some of the women were the biggest names. And I just said, we're going to drill down on this, and ultimately saw a real opportunity. And I said, go big or go home.
Going big led to Project Level Up. And its next big plan is a new women's soccer team for Denver. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time. Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Before we go back to the phones, we got some information for you. It says search is underway in Natchez, Mississippi. It's saying that the search is underway in Natchez, Mississippi for an escape inmate who broke out of the jail. According to Natchez Police Chief Cal Green, a reported sighting of Antoine Massey was called in around 8:30. A search is underway in the Providence Road area. That's according to Louisiana State Police. And officials are monitoring the search in the area, but did not confirm that Massey was spotted there. So that's what's going on. All right, WB, I'm sorry for the hold. How you doing? WB.
What's up, my brother?
What's going on with you?
It's all good, bro. So look, I was thinking about this, right? So there's a provision in the Constitution that against, well, you have a right to bail, but then you also have a right against excessive bail. So when I look at the penalties for harboring a fugitive, it's $500 fine or 5 years. So when you compare, I would, if I was an attorney, asking for a bond reduction, I would use that argument that the bond far exceeds what even the penalty is for the crime.
So I wondered, though, and I kind of broke this down, so I don't know if you heard me or not, so I asked you the same question. I wonder, though, is that bond so high because this is such a high-profile case? The governor's involved, state police, FBI, all the different law enforcement agencies, so many of them breaking out at one time, and then, of course, most of them having some type of issue with loss of life on their rap sheet, murder.
Right. I think that because it was high profile, it serves as a deterrent for anybody else trying to, who think about helping them, right? But the bigger picture is that, bond reduction hearing happens every day, and it's mitigating circumstances. So some people are more guilty than others, if that makes sense, based on what they actually, how far they went with the help of the fugitive.
Wait a minute, you said some people are more guilty than others?
Yeah, like for example, the person who may have helped but didn't really know he was helping a fugitive, but nonetheless guilty because they helped the fugitive, as opposed to the person who knowingly helped the fugitive. If that makes sense.
But they're giving them the same bond. So
I understand that. That's why I said some people could be more guilty than others,
right?
And that would be the mitigating circumstance for reducing the bond. You got me?
Yeah.
But it's all going to be handled in court either way it goes because, when it comes down to it, I don't know the people's record or whatever, but you know how when you go to court, if you have a previous record and you don't have no record, they might wind up getting probation. So they might just have to sit in jail, not being able to pay the bond until they are able to see their day in court.
So what about this grandmother? And I hate to keep referring back to her, but when I saw her photo, that mugshot, boy, it just looked like she was broken. And I said, this lady was trying to help, if she was trying to help, and knew she was trying to make sure that her grandson was going to be okay. So did she tell him where to go? Did she pick him up? And what everybody's saying is she just sent him some money. Cash out.
I guess we'll never know that, though, until we get to the court of law. And she said she's going to state her position, and her lawyer going to have to argue her point. And it's going to be for a jury to decide whether or not they believe her.
And then the other part of it is that, and this is going to sound chauvinist, but these are all women.
Right.
They got one guy? Is it one man? Okay. Everybody else, well, I'm sorry. I thought all of them were women. But they're saying it's one. And they also got an inmate in there, too. So he helped them, too. So he's already in jail. But I'm thinking about the number of women that have gotten themselves in trouble. And it made me ask the question, is this because that's your brother, that's your cousin, or is that your bad boy?
Now, see, my brother's going to call my sister before he called me.
Why?
Because he know I ain't gonna deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
come on, bro, you wouldn't do it?
I'm going to say, bro, you did the crime. I'm going to think about Beretta. You did the crime. You got to do some time, baby.
I was talking to one of my relatives, and they were like, "Bruh, if that was you, I hate to tell you, I'm gonna get that $20,000."
Oh yeah.
I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we gonna get that $20,000."
But I did like the idea of law enforcement, in lieu of arresting people or charging them, getting them to bait or set up the runaway if it was possible. You know what I mean? Like.
Wait a minute, say that again?
Got it. Like, I like the idea of having, instead of arresting the people who helped them, their reprieve would have been to bait the person back into a location where they could be arrested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like that idea as a minute, say, well, I fucked up. Oh, excuse me.
Got you. Go ahead.
I messed up and I really didn't know, but I'm going to show you that I really want to make amends. So I'm going to call him up, and we're going to set him up together.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think that they probably could have used them more so for advocates instead of saying, if you help them, you're going to jail. Because now they got not only those folks going to jail, but they also got their kinfolk going to jail. Now, the question is everybody smart enough to realize that you help them, you're going to jail?
At this point, anybody, I mean, we only got 2 left, right?
Yep.
But at this point, anybody in there, you don't even have to listen. You don't have to watch the news or listen. It's the talk of the town, right?
Yep.
I just got one other point, too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of disturbed that the governor didn't go off on Tangible Hope people.
Right.
You know what I mean? He not calling for no resignations.
Nope.
Liz Murrow, no resignations. Nobody who called for resignation to Susan Hudson is doing the same thing at this sheriff. And it ain't gonna lie. When I watched the sheriff from Tangible Hill, he was rattled. Oh, man, he was rattled. He was like, oh, my God. Because he was the second time. I mean, he was visibly, I'm a therapist. I'm trained to watch, to listen to the speech and watch behaviors. He was clearly rattled. He was tempering his every word. He wanted to make sure he said just the right thing because he out too. He need to be.
And then he had escaped there twice.
Yeah, that's the point. It's the second time with the same joker, right? So
So
and
you
then
don't think that they?
I ain't gonna say I like it,
Yeah.
but then even on the national news, the police chief escaped. Did you hear about that?
In Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's bizarre, man.
I had no idea that he was the police chief till they showed, because they showed him in shackles, and then I walked away from the TV and I came back and they were like, the police chief. I was like, the police chief? Who was the police chief? And then I saw that he was the one, and then I was like, oh my goodness! And he walked out the jail.
Yeah, and he was on rape charges if I'm not mistaken.
Raping something else, yeah.
Yeah. All right, brother. I just wanted to weigh in, but I was just thinking about the
WB.
extension bill thing.
Appreciate you, brother.
All
right.
One love, bro. Peace.
All right, you too. Lewis? Lewis?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Look, this is a community failure. These young black guys have developed these habits because our community has failed them, from the public schools to our social agencies to the church. Our families have failed them. They've determined to go on their own, and the way they do it is to try to make a way they can in illegal ways and in other ways. $7.25 an hour is a minimum wage in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
How do you expect those young boys to make a living?
And even the raise that they're giving, as far as what is it, $10 to $15 an hour, I don't think that's a good wage either to make a living.
Where I live, people at McDonald's make $20. People at another hamburger place make $26.50 an hour.
Wow. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from San Diego.
All right.
I am really profoundly disappointed in the response of the community. This is a profound, a deep, intense community failure. These little black boys have nothing else to do. They don't have any salvation, no support. Our community has abandoned them. Black men should be ashamed of themselves.
So one of the things that I will say is, well, first of all, you are correct. If we go back and we start looking at what their life has brought them, you got to remember one of the things about, now everybody will tell you that they love to come to New Orleans because they have such a good time. They love the culture. But one of the things you got to understand about New Orleans is that it is poverty stricken, and it shouldn't be, because hundreds of millions of dollars come to this city every year. Not just on one event. I'm talking about on several of them. Hundreds of millions of dollars come to this event. You got hundreds of millions of dollars that come to Mardi Gras. You got hundreds of millions of dollars that come to here. And we're still talking about I think more so a development of servitude than anything else, because they want us to serve them in the restaurants, but we're not really teaching young men how to make a living and giving them a skill, even if they don't go to a 4-year university.
That's right.
We're not doing that. We've lost several different things in school. You went back to the schools. I agree with you on that. So we've lost several different things in school, one of which is shop, home ec, all these different things that I came up with. And when I was going to school, that even if you didn't go to a 4-year university, at least you graduated with a skill.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I'm a member of a generation, probably the most successful generation of black people in the history of this country.
Mm-hmm.
And we absolutely have failed our brothers and sisters and their children. We have taken our success. We have abandoned the communities. Some of us have abandoned the state, and some have even left the country. But we have not given back to those young boys what the men before us gave to us.
Right.
Our success is predicated on the good service those men provided for us, the good leadership they provided for us. They gave us support. They supported us. And thick and thin. I've been in this situation in my own family.
Mm-hmm.
And as a family, we stuck together, and we all were willing to go down together. You know, these boys are being abandoned. All of these people calling in, complaining. I mean, this is sad. This is sad. The whole world's listening to this. It's not just being heard in San Diego, because we are spread out all over America,
mm-hmm.
us ex-New Orleanians, and we don't like it at all.
We don't like it either. We don't like it either.
The men are responsible for this outcome. No matter what they say, they are responsible. The men, look, my father and his friends had 3 jobs. Not 1, not 2, but 3 jobs. But they still found time to take us places, to teach us things, and to see to it that we transitioned. That's not happening anymore in New Orleans, and you all are suffering the consequence of all of this violence.
But let me ask you this question, Lewis. How did we fix it? What do we start with? Where do we start?
Well, I know exactly how to fix it.
Okay.
Men need to find a way to reach out to these little boys and pull them closer, not push them further away. The church be damned. The church be damned. We've had all these generations of church this and pastor this and pastor the other. Nothing has changed. What will change is when these men take these boys under their wing and they take them to their jobs and to their clubs and to their houses, and they provide them financial resources. They provide them educational training, pay for tutors if need be, give them advice as to what high school to attend, which one not to go to. Give them close, hands-on instruction, and they don't have to be related to the boys. That's how my generation of black boys were raised, by a bunch of men who were unrelated to us.
And if that's not your son, if that's not your grandson or something, still reach out for him.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter if we were related. Mr. Rene, Mr. Melanson, all of these old guys I remember, none of these men were my relatives at all. They were just our neighbors. But they saw to it that we did the right thing. They supported us. They rewarded us. And they shepherded us. The high school I attended was not the high school in my district. It was the high school one of the men in the neighborhood attended. He used to tell us stories about the high school. And so I decided to go to that high school. All my buddies in the neighborhood went to another high school. And that was because Mr. So-and-so told me that this was a better school. New Orleans is failing. The black men in New Orleans should be ashamed of themselves. And I mean the successful ones. And I know a lot of them who are successful, and I know them closely. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And I hope they hear and recognize who I am. But they need to be ashamed of themselves. They are allowing these boys to go to hell.
Let me ask you this too, not to get you off your box real quick, but I do want to ask you about these high $1 million bonds, and the majority of the folks that are subject to them with this incident are women, because they're so-called, and I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't know, are trying to help these young men.
That's because the men wouldn't step up and help. That's because the men, they went to their mamas and not their daddies. In my generation, we would have gone to our daddies. We would have gone to Mr. So-and-so, Mr. such-and-such, not Miss so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so. We would not have gone to women. That gives you a clue as to what's going on. That verifies what I'm saying, that the men in New Orleans are failing, the black men are failing. Look, let me just tell you. Look, there was a Jewish fella who took the nuclear secrets as to how to make a bomb. He took those secrets to Israel, and Israel used them to develop a bomb. They put him in jail here in America. Israel fought for years and years and years. Finally, he got released from jail and sent back to Israel, and that's where he is now. The Jewish community stood up for that boy. And he stole nuclear weapon secrets and gave them to Israel. They put him in jail here in America, but the Jews in Israel and in America fought to get that boy out. He eventually got out. He was released, and he is now living in Israel.
Right.
Our community needs to pay attention to that.
Well, I mean, to me, we got the same situation happening in part of the country right now, where these two young men, the Mendez brothers, are getting ready to get parole because the community, their community, stood up, saying, "Hey, look, they killed their mother and father,
they murdered their mama and their daddy,
but we want you to let them out because they have been reformed."
And they're going to be allowed to get out.
And they're going to be allowed to get out. I'm like, well, if that was us.
Well, we just don't fight hard enough, man. I'm telling you, in my lifetime, I've seen it. My success is predicated on the good service that other black men gave me, and none of these men had college degrees. Maybe one or two.
You from New Orleans?
I am.
Yes, indeed. Okay. I got you.
I am. Absolutely, I am. Native to the city. That's right. And it's shameful to listen to these people calling in, complaining, and making excuses as to why the situation is the way it is. I think the fellow who talked about the slave bond came closest to what's going on now. This is slavery 2025. These young boys are desperate. They are fundamentally desperate, and our community is turning its back on them. I mean, we're living in gated communities throughout the city. We're living in all of these fancy places, ignoring these young boys, and these young boys are angry as heck. They are absolutely angry as heck, and I understand why they're angry. I do. We've got to do something about it. I hope people who listen to me say this, I hope they determine that they're going to get off their butt and do something to change this.
Yeah.
And don't complain about Mr. Red Bottoms or Miss Boogity Woof. To heck with them. We need to focus on these young boys, and we need to change their lives. We need to reach out our hands and pull these boys closer to us. Otherwise, you're going to have another generation doing the same thing.
Yep. You ain't right.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call. All right, we got to take a break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We'll have some more conversation in just a minute as we get ready to wrap up the show for today. Everybody hold tight. More coming up.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. A war hero, a legislative giant, a Harlem son, Congressman Charles Rangel has died at 94. From the front lines of the Korean War to the halls of Congress, Rangel was a fighter. He earned a Purple Heart and Bronze Star in combat and later became one of the most powerful lawmakers in Washington. Representing Harlem for 46 years, he co-founded the Congressional Black Caucus and broke barriers as the first black chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. Rangel wasn't just making history, he was making policy. He led the charge on the Affordable Care Act, the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Caribbean Basin Initiative, and even authored the Rangel Amendment, which helped end apartheid in South Africa. After leaving Congress in 2017, he kept working, launching a workforce initiative to train young people in infrastructure jobs in the very community that raised him. Rangel said he never forgot where he came from, and Harlem never forgot him. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
I'm sure y'all noticed the arrival of dozens of white South Africans granted permission by President Trump to resettle in this country as refugees persecuted in their country. Ironically, Trump and his administration claim that white Afrikaners are facing a genocide. Those claims have been strongly refuted by the South African government. The move by Trump has faced significant criticism for prioritizing white Afrikaners based on race, though his administration argues that other minority groups can be considered. Read that as anybody but black South Africans. Trump told reporters he offered safe refuge for the Afrikaners because they were being victimized, and he feels the same about anyone, black or white. Well, Mr. President, try telling that to the many thousands of black and brown people who are being victimized. People you won't provide the same refugee status in the United States. It sure seems that Mexican, Chinese, Haitian, and other non-white people are being treated differently. But I'm sure those unfortunate people don't have South African Elon Musk lobbying on their behalf. Musk, as you know, contributed $250 million to Trump's presidential campaign, and as a result, he's been granted non-elected co-president, world ambassador, and commerce and economic policy advisor status. Both Trump and Musk possess rather dubious opinions of we ebony-shaded human beings. Trump has consistently lobbed denigrating insults at black people, especially towards black women. A recent Huffington Post editorial listed the results of a survey in which ChatGPT was asked to list the number of people that Trump has called individuals of lower IQ, and you know, it's pretty racist. Tops among the list being targeted are former First Lady Michelle Obama, former Vice President Kamala Harris, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, for whom the president has lodged his latest attack, calling her a lowlife and definitely a low IQ person. Now, to be sure, Trump has leveled insults at whites too, but he tends to downgrade the intelligence of blacks more often. We've seen this movie before. It's as old as slavery and Jim Crow, and it's a reminder that tyranny never dies. It thrives on the absence of democracy and those who would fight to preserve it. If the president is basing the welcoming of white South Africans on perceived persecutions, maybe he should visit the National Museum of African American History and learn about the persecution of our people. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 AM and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at BeyondTheStageLLC.com/campart and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to wish all of our students, teachers, and administrators a great summer break. Use this break as an opportunity to relax and reflect on all of you've accomplished this year. We can't wait to celebrate your success in the coming months.
From Gentilly to New Orleans East, WBOK is what New Orleans is talking about. WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Last call coming from LA. It's Mr. Harrell. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I'll tell you later, but I see you. I'm looking at the clock. You got about 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to comment on the caller from San Diego. San Diego is 130 miles from downtown Los Angeles. And everything he said was 200% true.
Mm-hmm.
The men of New Orleans and whatnot should take a hand in doing what they need to do for the young black men. Everything he said was 200% true. And I wanted to comment on the commentary that just went on. You can't expect anything. The creep that's in the White House, the fool that's in the White House, you can't expect anything from him. They need to hurry up and get him out of there and get him into jail where he belongs, okay? He's a liar. He's a racist, and that's what he ran on, is racism. And I was talking to somebody the other day. 47% of an ethnic group voted for 47% of his votes came from them. He's a certified fool. I have seen him in the flesh, and he's no good. He couldn't be any good if he wanted to. So anyway, you got 5 minutes. I just thought I would holler. And the caller from San Diego, he was right on target. I'll holler at you later.
All right, sir. Talk to you later. We got that California vibe today. That's what that is. Got that California vibe. So before I go, what I got about 3 or 4 minutes. Put something in perspective. Yeah, I want to put this in perspective. The reason why I was talking today about the grandmother, the photo, and where they are. And I'm first of all, let me say, I just didn't like that lady's photo plastered all over everybody's website, all over the television. And I know that could have been anybody's mugshot. That could have been anybody. But the look on her face was one of those that were hurtful and almost, to me, looked like she didn't know why she was there. Now, I can't tell you what she was looking, why she was looking that way. I don't know her. I've never met her. But it was just the fact that that's somebody's grandmother. And I'm kind of hurt that she got caught up into that because she didn't look like she would hurt anybody. That's number two. The other part of this is, y'all, we're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff that's coming out of this investigation. This investigation is still ongoing. Before I came over here, I was leaving from over at the sheriff's office. Y'all should see the number of investigators, auditors, and all the rest of the folks from all across the state. Y'all, we are living in a city that no matter how bad it is for our young men, as we heard from our folks in San Diego and LA and anywhere else across the state of Louisiana, we still live in a state, or in a city in a state, that the state depends on for us to have a whole bunch of money, to make a whole bunch of money. The rest of the world loves coming here, and they spend that money. The question should be for everybody that lives here is, where does that money go? How come we don't own over 1% of a percent of the businesses that are in the French Quarter? How come our city council puts up a blockade for you to be able to do business in the Mecca of the city, which is the French Quarter? You can't. I think it is time for change. I think we need some young blood because we still dealing with these folks. And I tell you that secret government exists here. The person you see out front, like your city council person or your state representative or your at-large or whoever, they ain't running the city. They're not running the city. Ask anybody in a jail. The guards, the sheriff, the warden, they're not running the jail. It's the OG of that flow, of that pod that's running the jail. Who's running this city? And the famous words again of Stephanie Chambers. New Orleans ain't real. Yes, indeed. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap things up for me. I'm done. I will see y'all on tomorrow. Whatever you do, safely and carefully. It's the way we want you to do it.